This is the Tesla Model 3 Performance, and good lord are these hard to get a hold of. Yeah, these things are really rare puppers in New Zealand right now. We'll get to tech specs in a minute, but right now let's talk price and range. One of these brand new you can buy today for 85 grand. It's a bit more than that. As for range though, you get 528 k's on one charge. It's a bit less than that. But performance, this is where this car shines. Jump in, let me show you. Now I mentioned it's hard to get a hold of these cars. I am not kidding. I've dealt with Tesla in the past a few times, but it seems like every time I contact them to get a new vehicle, the person I know, they don't work there anymore. They seem to go through staff faster than I go through potatoes. So this one is privately owned. Thank you, Derek, for letting me borrow your Performance Model 3. I will look after your baby. Now I'm going to try and keep this video relatively short and sweet, like Danny DeVito, because I've already covered the refreshed Tesla Model 3 very recently in detail. This one, I'm just going to concentrate on what makes this performance version special. And what makes it special? Well, it's performance. And normally Tesla, they don't tell you the specs when it comes to motor performance, that sort of stuff. This time, with this performance, they have. This is an all-wheel drive vehicle with 343 kilowatts driving its front and rear wheels. It's got two electric motors, which means its 0 to 100 time, supposedly, is 3.1 seconds, which is stupidly quick, unnecessarily quick. But it does sound like a lot of fun, so stay tuned, I will try that in a sec. As for a battery, this apparently has a 78 kilowatt hour battery pack. That's 78 units of electricity, which means officially it can get 528 k's on one charge. But you know the drill, take 15% off that, that's your real range, which is still 450 k's, and that's 450 k's, that's pretty good. Oh, here we go, here's a roundabout. Time for me to use the indicators instead of stalks. Which way are you going? You're not indicating, well you're a bike, so you can't. All right, indicate left. That's all right. See, when you're just going on the streets, it's okay. It's okay. It's just when you're going all the way roundabout doing roundabouts, that's when it gets a little hairy. Let's move on to design differences though. What makes the performance different from the rest of the refreshed Model 3? And Tesla on their website, they say that this car uses bespoke design performance, which is beautifully meaningless. It's like, remember those motivational posters in the things like the late 90s, early 2000s? They'd have like a boat full of people rowing with like perseverance or perspiration or whatever they have at the bottom of it. It's just, oh, if you survive those motivational posters, you know what I'm talking about. Those sort of things, they are lost on me. What bespoke performance design means from a visual perspective though, well, that we can see easily, because if you look at the front, they have improved the front of the grille, the front space of the car. The bumper has been redefined a little bit. It's also, not unlike Jimmy Carr, it has a redefined chin. Its chin is a bit bigger and it sticks out a little bit, and I think it's carbon fiber. Although, that's what it says in the literature, but when you tap it, it just feels like plastic. As for the side, there's no difference. I mean, look at it. It's a good looking car. I've always liked the Model 3, and the refresh does improve the looks, but visually on the side, I can't see any changes. But if you had a look at the back, that is different. First of all, there is that lip spoiler on the top of the boot. That looks cool. That is carbon fiber. But then also, if you go down to the bottom of the bumper, you'll notice the rear diffuser has been installed. That sort of helps channel the air from the high pressure zone under the car to the low pressure zone at the back of the car. It's designed to ease that transition between the high and low pressure zones. Then bottom line is it gives you a little bit better economy because it gives you slightly more improved efficiency. Also on the exterior are the wheels. This one doesn't have 19-inch wheels, it has 20-inch forged wheels, which look like they mean business. That is a very cool design, and look at the size of the tires on this thing as well. These are sticky tires, low profile tires. I'm really excited to see how these handle New Zealand's often turbulent bumpy roads. As for the interior, have a look at where I'm sitting right now. It is a typical refreshed Tesla. It looks like every other Tesla. You'll notice the bigger light strip around the top of the dashboard there. This one is colored red. You can change the color, but you will notice that it is black. Yep, typical Tesla, you've only got two color options. You've got black or white. And I know this is going to make me sound old because I survived the 1980s where cars had color in their interiors, and Tesla, I wish you'd just brighten it up with some color options. Give us a beige, give us a blue, give us a burgundy, give us something that cars in the 70s and 80s used to have, you know? I reckon if they offered a brown leather version, or even just sort of beige, I know this is sounding really elderly, but if they just offered a beige version, I reckon it would sell. Because I mean, if you look at like the Porsche Taycan, a reason I love the Porsche Taycan is they've got so many interior color options. You can get that with brown leather. And I know you may be mocking brown leather, but I promise you, in a good upmarket car, brown will age gracefully. I promise you, it will look good in years to come. This, however, This is, well, it's a celebration, a symphony of PVC. Let's talk tech though, and this is a Tesla, of course. It's got everything. I mean, come on, if you know anything about cars, you'll know that Tesla load their cars up with everything imaginable. Everything is intelligently designed, everything is voice controlled. Whether it's the window wipers or opening the charging flap, it's all done with voice commands. It's really intelligent. It's like living in the future. You can play games while you're charging this thing. Not only in the front, but also in the back. There's a games console now built into the rear controls. It would also control the air conditioning and the stereo and that sort of thing. You can watch movies and YouTube and all that sort of stuff. This is a tech lover's paradise. But if you've seen my Tesla Model 3 refresh video, you'll know there is one thing I do not like about this car, and that is they've got rid of the indicator stalks and the drive selector stalks. And getting rid of the indicator stalks, as you saw just a few minutes ago, it's okay to use these buttons when you're just navigating small corners and turning left and right, that sort of thing. Works fine until you hit a roundabout. Then you'll find that all of a sudden your left-right buttons, not only are they on the other side of where your hand is, but they're inverted, which means that your hands will be flailing, at least for the first few days or perhaps first couple of weeks. See, easy now, because I'm just turning left. But you will get the hang of it if you are a purist and you're passionate about it. Personally, I don't want to have to learn how to get the hang of it. As for the lack of drive selector, that is not really that much of an issue. It's gone, yeah, but you're not going to be changing into drive and reverse many times while you're in the middle of a roundabout. Instead, when you get in the car, it uses some intelligence to assume you want to go a particular way. It uses its cameras and it reads and it thinks for you. So when you get in, you just press the brake and it will automatically go into drive, unless there's something in front of you, and it will automatically go into reverse. And it's brilliant. Doesn't always work though, like AI, you know, AI is not perfect. It's like, for example, when you tell AI to recreate that famous scene of Jesus flipping over the tables. Well, it's a bit literal when AI does it. Its heart's in the right place. As for this, if it doesn't work for whatever reason on the screen, you can use your finger as well. They've done something kind of smart, and that is they've put buttons up here on the top of the car that, oops, see, there you go. You push the button and the buttons illuminate. You can still control forward and reverse and neutral and park and all that from here. That's kind of smart. Thank you. Good backup. I just wish they wouldn't have got rid of the indicator stalks. Fun fact is you can actually buy aftermarket indicator stalks for this car now, and that should tell Tesla's design team something, that if you take away a basic safety feature and then make it be bought as an aftermarket part, something's wrong there. Bottom line is this car has all the gadgets you can think of. It is loaded with toys. In fact, it's got more toys than that. Remember that movie with Robin Williams called Toys? It was this weird movie. I don't know why. Everyone's probably forgotten about that, but for some reason that stays in my mind. It's a weird time. Alright, speaking of tech, this car has loads of tech, and not just gadgetry. It's also got some pretty smart track related stuff. So this has got Track Mode V3. It's an enhanced track mode over the previous Tesla Model 3 performance, and it lets you do all kinds of things. For example, you can change the regen braking. You can set that to be much more fierce. You can adjust the power balance between the front and rear wheels, and that's great if you want to recreate the feel of a vehicle that you're more familiar with. A lot of other stuff you can do here. Look at this. You've got drift mode. If you are a driftologist, which I am not, and this is a borrowed car, so don't worry, Derek, I'm not going to put this sideways into a pole. We've got the ability to create racing profiles, which is good if you've got different styles of driving for different tracks. Bottom line is, this promises, or at least it looks like it promises, to be quite a track-friendly car. Let's move on to comfort now for the moment, and this car is basically the same as the other refreshed Model 3. The only real difference is that instead of the felty bits, or plastic bits, we've got carbon fiber stick-on bits, which don't really make the car go any faster, but they look cool. Also, you'll notice the big piece of resistance is these massive racing seats. They look pretty cool. Not only do they look cool, but they also have embedded in them, look at that, Windows 95 spacey screensaver. Way to go, how's that? Viva la 90s. Also, these seats, well, they've got great side support. Lots of padding on the sides there. It just feels like, I don't know, it feels like I'm the right size for this. I don't feel like I could slide out. It feels good. Actually, it's quite comfortable too. The ride quality at low speed city streets like this seems fine. What's it going to be like on the open roads, where the roads get a bit more moony, a bit more lunar surfacey? We'll find out. I mean, I haven't put my foot down yet, but it seems like a relatively sensible family car. I mean, it's got the same amount of room in the back. I mean, look at the size of the boot in this thing. It's a massive boot, 682 litres. Then if you go up the front, you'll notice it's got the fartment. That's an 88 litre fartment up the front there, the front compartment. A lot of cars cheap out on the fartment, but not this one. There is bucket loads of room in there. This is quite a well-rounded family car. But apparently it also goes like stink. But again, I'm driving at low speed on some relatively newly paved road. There we go, there's a cat's eye. I felt that. So this is also a heavier car. This is almost 2 tons now, this car, which means that they have put better suspension in it, not only for the racing profile, but probably also to handle the weight. And crikey, that is, I was expecting a bit more body roll. No way, far out. Okay, but the reason you're watching this is not to have me rabbit on and make terrible jokes and obscure references to motivational posters in that movie with Robin Williams. You're here to watch this thing go quickly and to see what it's like on my top secret driving road. So without further delay, let's go find an empty slice of road and press my right foot all the way to the floor. And here's an empty slice of road. We're the only ones on it. It's now in insane acceleration mode. I've been warned to put my head back into the seat. Here we go. Tesla Model 3 Performance 2024. 3, 2, 1. That's stupid, man. I've never experienced anything like that. That's dangerous. Holy cow, you should need a special license. Like, it's at 100 before I had time to react. That's insane. How is this illegal? I want to try it again. This is madness, man. Oh my god, that's stupid. Okay, so now we know it goes like stink, but what's it like on the top secret driving road, which is just around the corner? Let's go find out. And here we go. And Teslas have always tended to handle quite well. In fact, sometimes a little too well. The suspension's always been firm in these cars. This is a whole new level. And the suspension's firm and it translates every bump into the passenger cockpit. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be though, because I've heard that the suspension was hard, but it's not that bad. It does absorb some bumps. It's not like the forklift where you got solid tires and no suspension at all. This does have a little bit more give. I don't feel any wallow. It feels, oh wow, this is like a slot car. This is insane, man. And it's doing a great job considering it's almost 2 tons. It doesn't feel like it. Because I've driven some cars that are quite reasonably good performance, like the MG4 X-Power. That is an insane machine. That's a wild car. That's an unpredictable car. But I do love it, and I think about owning one almost on a weekly basis. This feels a little more refined than that. But it does still feel kind of wild. Crikey, this thing sticks. Oh, this is angry. Oh, this makes you feel, inside. You know that feeling I'm trying to describe? I can't find the words for it, but you know the feeling I'm talking about, right? This car makes you feel it. Oh, and the way it goes around these corners, suspension's excellent. It's a great blend of, well, mild comfort. It's 90% handling, 10% comfort, but it's not unbearable like a forklift, you know? It works. Oh, it makes you want to do, illegal things. This car is designed for crime. It wants to speed. If you're going to get one of these, promise me you'll put it on the track. Even if you're not a very good track driver. I'm not, but I'd love to have a go, or at least pay someone to have a go for me. And this is a good segue for me to talk about this clip, which I got permission to use off YouTube. And there's a guy, Misha. He's a much better driver than I am, and probably you as well. And he put this car on the Nürburgring, and see how well it did. It is a serious track car, overtaking so many different vehicles. But it did suffer from one problem that he had and so many other track reviewers have had, and that is the brakes overheat. Fortunately, it's got brake temperature sensors here to warn you when that happens, but it is something you need to keep in mind, and perhaps something can work on in future models. Put beefier brakes on it. But otherwise, the tires, the suspension, it's like driving on flypaper. Oh, this is glorious. Oof. It's no wonder anti-EV people are scared of this technology. It's just brilliant. I'm so glad I got to do this today because the weather supposedly is going to pack up for the next 6 days. So it's good. I got some nice dry roads just for another hour. It's starting to rain already, so I think my time here is done. Oh, and there you go. Just like that, the road is over and this segment is over. So I guess with that in mind, I'll come back down to earth and we'll do the Spud score. Starting with performance, and you saw it, it's brutal. 10 out of 10 potatoes, it is just breathtakingly quick. As for handling, 9 potatoes there, an incredible score for what is a very sticky car. Regarding comfort, it is designed with the racetrack in mind, so it is firm even with the suspension set to its softest setting, so it gets 5 spuds. Although the soft ventilated seats help, as does the improved noise insulation. When it comes to efficiency though, Tesla is king. Even with its big battery, its big wheels and massive tires, this thing just glides through the air, so 10 spuds there. Gadgetry's next, and being a Tesla, it's got everything. Well, almost everything. It's still missing Android, Apple, and vehicle to load, but it's got every other toy imaginable, so 8 spuds. But what about value, you ask? Well, it's not a cheap car, but considering its long range and its Ferrari-beating performance, it is fairly affordable in the supercar sphere, so with that in mind, 7 spuds. Charging speed is next, and it's fast, charging it up to 250 kilowatts, which means a 10 to 80% charge is 27 minutes. That's not bad. As for style, it is personal, and I'm showing my bias, but I've always liked the Model 3 design because they're well-proportioned machines. They just look good, and the refresh has improved it further, so 8 spuds. But is it fit for purpose? Well, it sure is. It goes quick, it goes a long way per charge, and it charges quickly too, and it easily hauls the kids in the back with loads of boot space, so 8 spuds. And lastly is the all-important PSC, and it gets an above-average 7 spuds here for being able to haul no fewer than 69 potatoes in its dash despite its microscopic glove box, which gives the Tesla Model 3 Performance a very high spud score of 80. And there you have it. That is the newest Tesla Model 3 Performance, the dual motor beast. I'll keep the summary super short. In essence, we exist for a tiny, tiny little blip on the radar in the grand scheme of things. So if you and your existence get the chance to drive this or just ride in this, do it, because it will make you feel good. It will enhance your life because it has enhanced mine.